Hello and welcome to the DFS_PhD show for today, Leap Day, the 29th of February. Remember, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, someone's got to win that money. And yesterday, the Discord resident with the highest score was K Stevens 15. You may have seen him second, maybe even first at some points there. In the main, it was a fun run there, having Toppin early, having Drummond early. And then, man, what did happen with Norm Powell? Cares, but overtime worked for you a little bit, but not that much, right? Having two pieces when other people had three. Also, none of the Cleveland side wound up in the optimal somehow, even though there were, Levert, right? But he was solo owned, I guess is the reason why. So the optimal, the number one lineup, not the actual optimal. Um, but let's go ahead and move on to today. Yesterday was fun enough, fine enough, but the double overtime, come on, man. I'm like pushing maybe the top, I came up with 326 or whatever without overtime. Whatever. And then who's that other guy playing instead of Andre Drummond for like 10 of those minutes? I don't even remember his name. Whatever. Okay, so for today we have that's late slate stuff. Jonathan Isaac ruled out. Banchero game time decision, but went through shoot around. I'm pretty sure I saw. Oh, that was after that. Ben Simmons now questionable, so we got a Ben Simmons downgrade. Let me make sure I took him out of the pool. Anytime we get a midday downgrade, I just assume for and plan for the person being out, because even if they're in, they're probably not feeling that well, right? Why else did they report that? So, maybe you get a Jordan flu game out of Ben Simmons, but I'm fine with that not being in my player pool. And then I guess I should go to Court IQ and see what happens with Ben Simmons off the court. I didn't do that yet, just because I don't think he's that big of a deal for them. But just to see, make sure I have everything kind of where I want it for this video. Brooklyn, Ben Simmons, and he's been off the court most of the year, so it's not going to be like a big deal. Oh, and I still have full games only ticked over here. I don't mean that. Okay. Now, okay, so then almost doesn't matter at all. Great. So glad I came over here, and thank you again for everybody for joining me. And yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I get a fair number of likes and views every day. So thanks for hanging out and hearing me talk about these games. Oh yeah, so let me talk about it from the top down for today's slate. Let me finish going through. Do we have any weird? Oh yeah. Went through shoot around. No return for Melton. That's too bad for him. Hero out, so we maybe get a little bit of value there. Jalen Green, assuming he's out as well. So let's go and look at what happens with Jalen Green out. Maybe that'll matter more. Jalen Green for Houston. I think this game in general, not a great environment. Um, Jalen Green off the floor. Yeah, let me say what I had a couple of pace disagreements with whatever the lines were today, so that's where I got different initially from SaberSim. I just think this Brooklyn Atlanta game, like what's going on? These are two reasonably, Atlanta is fast. Now, granted, they don't have Trae Young, so maybe it's a slower paced team. We got a small sample of that. I'm not going to draw too many conclusions. Um, yeah, wait, is he's still out? Yeah. So, anyway, I expect this game to be much faster than like Vegas does, so I'm just going to lean into that. And same thing with Phoenix and Houston. I don't understand that being so high scoring, so I'm not going to make it high scoring. I think it's going to be lower scoring. Houston prides itself on its defense. It's very gross. Anyway, so that's how I've got them. Let me just confirm also. Go for the top. Yeah, Trey's out, but we're not right. That's just not enough points for Dejounte, right? With Trey out. So we did Jalen Green off the court, and let's finish doing that, I guess. If we assume that our top scorer will be Sengun with 50, so you got to give a 50 to Sengun. So I'm going to do 50 for Sengun, assuming that Jalen Green is out. I'm going to do 50 for Dejounte, because I think that's about what he gets to when with Trey's out. Plus, I just want the rank order to be Giannis better than Shea, and then the next two guys. And Wembanyama, it's hard to know what to expect for his minutes. So I'm just going to leave him in the next tier as well. And wow, is it really going to be 10% Dejounte Murray with no Trae Young? I know his price is up. What? It's not even up. It's like 9-4. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Play him. I guess. Is that going to have to be core? I don't know. That's really stupid. This is a small slate. He's a sliver of value that we have. I don't understand how you're not absolutely clinging to it and jamming it. I think that's going to have to be my stance on Sengun as well, assuming. So we're getting that news, let's see, after lock as well. Yeah, so that's super valuable. It's the very last game. So I'm just going to plan for Shengu or for Jalen Green being out. That's like the one nugget we've gotten midday downgrades. People sometimes don't have a big enough opinion of those as they should. Those are really worrisome. Like something got tweaked at shoot around, there's no time to recover. Anyway, you're definitely thinking about sitting if you get a midday downgrade. So I'm planning for those guys to be out until they are for sure in. Anyway, so yeah, this makes sense for I don't like having that much DFS. Dorian Finney-Smith, not the game. He's fine, but I mean Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, all these Brooklyn guys, I'm definitely on just because of the Atlanta situation. I think it's a faster game environment than I would expect. These are not great teams, not great defenses, even where they are somewhat slow. So anyway, yeah, Sengun, Schroder, these are good values. Nick Claxton, good value. Giannis, not a value, obviously. Hendricks is still a value. He's still playable. I mean, I don't think most people 2%, 3%. That's just not appropriate. I'll take leverage there. 10x is a bit much, but it's a thin slate, and he is solid value. So I'm not gonna really. I don't think I'm gonna tweak it any. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in the lower class of dudes. I don't want him to be higher than like Keldon Johnson, Trey Murray, the people who are on the pop cap. Anybody who's in San Antonio team, I limit them to 30% because I don't trust Pop. Whitmore, I can't have more than 15%. He has to hit his shots. Anybody who has to hit shots, I go 15% as a max on any slate. But there's no min. I mean, I like you could get to them, you don't get to them, you don't have to jam them. Josh Hart, yeah, these guys are fun. No, none of these guys are cross-offable. Banchero was like at practice, so not a midday. That's like a midday upgrade, right? If he's questionable and then at practice. But I mean, sometimes we have seen people sit out still, they're practicing, they're not ready to play yet, whatever. And degree of participation at practice is determined by the journalist talking about it, right? So some of these guys, I don't know if they know full participation from just going through the motions, right? These are not like athletes. Okay, that's about all I got to say. I don't plug. I'm not plugging any of these guys. I'm not touting anybody. It's at like 10% in my runs. My settings. I haven't put in any rules yet today. Don't think any of our regular rules apply. I mean, I guess if Beal is there, you can do the 1, 2, 3 Phoenix rule. The best 2 out of 3 for their stars. But I think for now, I'm just gonna go with whatever background correlations are there. That's what I'm paying SaberSim for. So I'm just gonna limit the salary. I think 200 is good again today. And then yeah, just besides that, lean into my feel on the pace of those 2 games. And then if I get the 2 games right, I win. If I get the 2 games wrong, I lose. So easy slate for me today. Remember, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, someone's got to win that money. Might as well be us.